All right, now before we go any further, let me introduce myself and my co-hosts for today's event. My name is Aaron Morgan, Small Business Liaison for Caltrans District 1 in Eureka, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Tricia Silva, Small Business Liaison for Caltrans District 2 in Reading, and Robin Spence, Small Business Liaison for Caltrans District 3 in Marysville. Tricia will be monitoring our chat section and dropping links as they're mentioned by today's speakers, and Robin will be keeping an eye on the Q&A section for us. To ensure that Robin sees everyone's questions, please be sure that you click the drop-down menu in the Q&A section and change the recipient of your question from everyone and instead select Robin Spence to have your question answered. Together, Robin, Tricia, and myself are your Caltrans North Region small business team, serving all small businesses seeking to work with our department in Northern California. And no matter where you are in Northern California, one or all of us are willing and able to help your small and growing business in working with Caltrans. Whether this takes the form of technical assistance with getting certified or finding bidding opportunities, advocating on your behalf to contract managers, or conducting outreach like today's event, we are here to do everything that we can to see you succeed with your public works contracting goals. If you're joining us from another part of the state, however, you can find your local small business liaison for your district at the link in the chat. And regardless of where you're joining us from, we want to make sure that you are aware of and know your rights under Caltrans's non-discrimination policy statement, which reads, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based on race, color, and national origin. Specifically, 42 U.S.C. 2000 states that no person in the United States shall, on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. And it is worth mentioning that our department also has policies in place to ensure similar levels of protection against discrimination when state dollars are the sole source of project funding as well. And to this end, we would love to know a bit more about you and your business. Tricia is going to be posting some links in the chat to two polls, one in English and the other in Spanish. And sometime, either now or after this event, we would love to hear more about your business's demographics so that we can better craft our outreach content to fit your needs. Your response is appreciated, and those answers will be kept private and anonymous. And with that out of the way, it is my pleasure to introduce the Chief of Construction for the Caltrans North Region, Mr. Andy Alvarado, who's going to talk a bit more about today's program. Good morning, Andy.
Morning, everybody. I do want to welcome you, both the sub and the small business community, and also all the primes that are here to join us in this forum. There's a lot of work in the North Region right now. We have almost $2.5 billion worth of work ongoing, and with nowadays with a lot of the funding that's coming from Washington and some of the other things that we have rolling in. With the gas tax and so forth, there's a lot of work that needs to get done, and so especially in the northern state, as I mentioned, $2.5 billion worth of work is a ton of work, and we hope that in today's forum, the small businesses, the women-owned businesses, the disadvantaged business enterprises will also get a piece of that pie. And it's a pretty big chunk right now. Our most of our jobs are requiring about 22.2% of the work to be accomplished by disadvantaged business enterprises. So there's a lot of opportunity there is my point. Today's opportunities, though, are nobody's going to hand you anything. There's a lot of work out there being done by quality contractors. Some of them are here today. A lot of the heavy hitters that do a lot of work here in the North State are on this call and on this forum, and you're going to have the ability to market yourself directly to these folks. Establishing a relationship with these contractors could really change the trajectory of your business, really, and really could affect maybe your life going forward as you grow your business. And that's what this opportunity does. It also helps Caltrans in that, we are trying to grow our pool of small businesses and disadvantaged business enterprises and so forth, so that we have a greater pool to choose from. With all the work that we have, we don't want to spread anybody too thin. We want to make sure that people are able to grow responsibly and do a good job in that vein. I mentioned there's quality contractors here. We went and reached out, and these are people who care about the work that they do in the North Region and the people with whom they work. We are all dedicated to doing good jobs, paying promptly for that work, and not discriminating against anybody. So you'll find these folks to be quality folks and ready to work with you. We also have in this forum some very good quality advocates, small business advocates and prime advocates and Associated General Contractors of California, CPM Logistics, who knows small business, understands the relationship between small businesses and larger prime contractors and how to maneuver through those little hallways and so forth, and that maze that kind of intimidates some people. So you've got some great people here in this forum. I hope that you'll take advantage of it to make the right contacts and to reach out and establish your own foothold in this. And if we do that, then we'll all be very successful and happy at the end of this thing. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Andy, for really shining a little light on what makes this event so special. Now, before we meet our primes, we want to introduce you all a collection of Caltrans subject matter experts from various divisions, as well as representatives from our resource agency partners that Andy mentioned, and give them each an opportunity to share a little bit about what they do, either for Caltrans or what they can do for small businesses. They'll also be available to answer any questions that you may have arise over the first half of today's program. First, we have the Chief for Labor Compliance here in the North Region, Rob Embry. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, everybody. Actually, I'm the chief over the Office of Construction Support. And so with construction support, we have the labor compliance, we have contract payments, we have our new contract enforcement unit that deals with the DBEs, the prompt payment, and those types of issues. So we are here to help any way that you might need when administering your contracts and looking for payments. Maribel De La Torre is on the line with us also. She is the Labor Compliance Office Chief. And so we're here to help with any questions or concerns that you might have with labor compliance, contract payments, or DBEs or small business issues. So welcome, everybody, and hopefully we can help you out when needed.
All right, thank you. Glad to have you here, Rob. Next, we have Amy Fong joining us from the Caltrans Office of Innovative Design and Delivery, who will be sharing information with us today about job order contracting with Caltrans. Hello, Amy.
Thank you, Aaron. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Amy Fong. So I do work in Headquarters Design, Office of Innovative Design and Delivery. So we're responsible for Caltrans alternative delivery programs such as CMGC, design build, and now job order contracting. So I hope to have a pretty great opportunity to share with you our latest development in job order contracting, because we are responsible for helping out the district to deliver these alternate delivery programs. So thank you.
It's very exciting to hear about, Amy, and we'll hear about that in just a minute. Next, we are joined by Michelle Lopez Hardy, who is the Caltrans Office of Civil Rights over Data Analysis, Supportive Services, and Outreach, or DASO. I love that acronym, Michelle. Please go right ahead. Oh, it looks like Michelle is not on the line. So hold that thought. We will see if we can get her on the line here. We are also joined by leadership from Caltrans Headquarters Construction Division, Acting Division Chief Timothy Grutter and Assistant Division Chief Raymond Tritt. Tim, Ray, are you here?
I'm here.
Welcome. Please go right ahead.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for coming today. It's very important that you're here, and we really appreciate your participation. We do have a lot of work coming up, and it's upwards of $15 billion worth of active construction projects and something like 750 ongoing jobs at any one time. And those numbers are going to get bigger. So, you know, the community here, the industry at large is very important that we have contribution from, you know, not only very big primes to handle the very big projects that we have, but mid-sized primes and smaller primes and smaller businesses. So, you know, when we have that balance of small business opportunities, that drives innovation. That provides a very healthy work environment from my perspective. And you know, this is a time where partnerships are key because there's so many new people coming in, and our willingness to help each other and work with each other to deliver this incredible construction program is just such an opportunity for us right now. New people are being put in new roles, and so myself is included. I'm put into this new role over the last 3 months, and you know, there's a big learning curve. So mentoring and helping each other out are considerations I'd like you to have in your mindset of how we can help each other, because there's plenty of work to do. So and I do want to thank you all for being here today. One other point about safety is a priority, and work zone protection of the folks that are out there at the job site is very important to me. And you know, work with your project teams to make sure that your employees and our employees are going to go home, right? Go get the job done, go home safely. That's a very big priority. I work with Andy and the other folks, with his counterparts in the other districts, to see how we can best accomplish that in conjunction with our construction industry. And then the third point I'll make, and I'll be brief, is the workforce development. You know, there's so many new people coming in. And Caltrans wants to be that organization where people want to work. They want to do work for Caltrans, and they want to work at Caltrans. And so, you know, we see ourselves at Caltrans as part of the construction industry. We have local agencies, we have FHWA. This is a very thriving sector with lots of opportunities and challenges before us. So, again, you know, bring your folks in, challenge them, and bring their energy to bear on delivering our program. So I'm very happy to be here, and I just want to thank you all for your participation. I will turn it back to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Tim, and we're happy to have you with us. Next, we have a trio of representatives from our resource agency partners: Abigail Brown, President of CPM Logistics; Government Affairs Director for Northern California, for Chris Smith, joining us from AGC of California; and Program Coordinator for NorCal PTAC, James Forrest, who is going to be joining us in just a little bit. And they'll each be presenting some information about what their organizations might be able to offer your business. We're very excited you can all be here with us today. As a reminder, if you have questions for any of our subject matter experts and presenters, please send them directed to Robin Spence in the Q&A section so we can answer those in just a little bit. Now, as I mentioned earlier, let's go ahead and hear from Amy Fong about how Caltrans is utilizing job order contracting. Please go right ahead, Amy.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Good morning again, everyone. Next slide. So I have about a 15-minute presentation to go over and provide you an overview of Caltrans job order contracting, as well as go over anticipated job order contracting projects that we anticipate in the next six months. And of course, I'll wrap it up my presentation with a Q&A section. Next slide. So Caltrans received job order contracting last July, based on two legislation, AB 149 and SB 156. So AB 49 is our general funds legislation, and there's a section for Clean California. So for projects, job order contracts that are stemming from the Clean California is authorized to utilize job order contracting. As well as SB 156, projects that stemming from the Broadband Middle Mile Network Program can also utilize job order contracting. So these two programs are temporary programs. Clean California is a 2-year programming program, meaning that funds need to be expended in 2 years, and broadband funds needs to be expended in 3 years. Next slide, please. So what is job order contract? Job order contract is very similar to a service contract, a service on-call contract, but it's for construction services. So work that requires plans and specification can utilize job order contracting. And with job order contract, we're going to enter in a master agreement with the contractor. And once we have a master agreement with a contractor, we can issue the work orders. So the work orders are individual construction contracts. So we enter a master agreement stating that, hey, we plan to do this job order contract with you. And then when we're ready to identify locations of work, we'll start issuing work orders. We'll award the job order contract master agreement to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. And this master agreement is a 12-month contract with an option to extend 2 times to 12 months, so up to 36 months. It's mutually agreed between the department and the contractor. Next slide. So this is an overview of our job order contract workflow, and I assume we'll have copies of this PowerPoint presentation for your reference later. Let's be broken up by 3 sections. So the first section up on top is the invitation for bid. So when the Caltrans is ready to advertise a job order contract, we're going to advertise it on the Cal eProcure website, and we'll have this invitation for bid document, which is going to provide bid instruction for the contractors. It's going to define how we're going to select the lowest bid contractor. And since this is a new process for Caltrans, these will be hard copy submittals. So you'll either need to drop it off in Sacramento or mail it up in Sacramento. Second bullet is we're going to require a mandatory pre-bid meeting. Since this is a new process, we want to make sure contractors understands our bidding process. Our job order contract process is going to be a little bit different compared to other DOTs and agencies, because we need to adapt the job order contract process, making sure that it's compatible with our systems and database. And the mandatory pre-bid meeting will also provide an opportunity for networking with small businesses. Looking at the third bullet in the invitation for bid, we're going to define a geographical location of work, and as well as have plans and special provisions. For example, District 2 plans to do fencing work in District 2, so they can provide a geographical location. It could be a route, countywide, district-wide. You just don't know the exact post-mile limit at that point, but all the work that will be specified, all the work items will be listed in the special provisions as well as the bid item list, or I should say the fixed unit price list, looking at the fourth bullet. So each of our job order contract will have a fixed unit price list, which identifies all the work items as well as a fixed unit price. Per legislation, we are required to have a fixed unit price, which is generally going to represent the cost for you to do the work. Materials, labor, equipment costs. Then looking at the next bullet, the contractor is going to bid for an adjustment factor. That's the markup for each of the work items in a fixed unit price list. Your adjustment factor generally is going to represent your profit, your overhead, any risk you think is associated with the work, or any additional costs above the fixed unit price list will be included in your adjustment factor. And so therefore that fixed unit price list multiplied by your adjustment factor is the stipulated unit price. That stipulated unit price will be a price that's locked in, and will be the cost when we issue these work orders. That's how we're going to come up with the total price for the work order. So that unit price is going to be fixed for all work orders. In the next slide, there'll be a little bit of sample for that. Give a picture of what that stipulated unit price is. And then the last bullet under the invitation for bid is the contractor pre-qualification. So there will be a pre-qualification process, which it generally represents our normal traditional process in our normal contracts, where we check for your license, making sure it's up to date, it's the correct type. We also want you to make sure you're registered with the Department of Industrial Relations and respond to the bidder responsibility questions. So once we have all that, we get your bids, and we get the select the lowest apparent bidder. We'll enter in a job order contract master agreement. That's the second stage, which again, it's just a contract between the department and the contractor, 12-month contract. At this point, we don't guarantee any minimum amount of work. So we don't guarantee how many work orders we're going to issue. However, each job order contract will have a maximum contract amount. Could be 1 million, could be 5 million. And it is our good faith intent to issue that maximum contract amount, but we don't guarantee any work because we want to have some flexibility in our delivery process. Perhaps in the event that maybe we're unable to acquire temporary construction easements, or maybe we're having other permit issues such as right-of-way permitting. It gives us some flexibility in our delivery schedule to issue these work orders. And the last stage is the work order. So once we have a master agreement with you, we can start issuing the work order. This is the time we'll specify the exact post-amount limits of the work. And then we want to have a joint scope meeting with the contractor, because we want to go over the work, making sure we have all the work items, and as well as the quantities, agreed to quantities for each of the work orders. So we want to have that meeting and partner with the contractor for each of the work orders. And once we're in agreement, we can enter in a work order construction contract. So that construction contract is very similar to our normal contract. It's going to include the bid book. Even though you're not bidding, we do need to solidify all the work items, quantities, and prices for each of the work orders. And that's how we're going to document it. And all the plans and special provision that was part of the invitation for bid will also be part of the work order construction contract. Looking at the third bullet under work orders, for Clean California projects, so for projects that are funded from the Clean California program, we'll have DVBE requirements, and this is when we'll need to collect all your documents, making sure you meet the goals. And the goal is going to be based on the total price of the work order. So if the work order is less than $1 million, there's a 5% DVBE goal. If it's between 1 to 5%, the total price of the work order is between 1 to 5%, there will be a 3% DVBE goal. So we want to make sure you're hitting the goal. And looking at the next bullet, the fourth bullet under work orders, this is the time we're going to collect the payments and performance bond based on that work order, as well as your insurance. And again, last bullet is the work order is going to be priced based on that stipulated unit price, based on that adjustment factor you bid in the invitation for bid. Next slide, please. So this is a very simplified example of what the price proposal is going to look like when you submit your bids. Looking at the left columns is the fixed unit price list. So this is our bid item list and approximate quantities. The quantities are approximate. They're meant to comprise of what we anticipate for the all the work orders combined, although it's just an estimate, so it is subject to change when we issue those work orders. So these estimated quantities are just mainly used for bidding purposes only, but it gives you a rough idea of the magnitude of each of the work orders combined. Again, we'll have that fixed unit price list, which generally represents your cost for labor, equipment, material. That's fixed. And moving on to the right columns, your adjustment factor is your bid. So that's your multiplier. If you want to have a 10% markup, that's going to include your profit, overhead, and any other risk associated with the work items. You want to make sure you have your appropriate adjustment factor for each of the work items. So this is a very long-winded way for contractors to submit unit prices, at the same time meet our legislation requirements. So it is a couple of steps, so make sure get your math correct, because again, these will be hard copy submittals. So that stipulate unit price that you see on the second to left column, that's the unit price we're going to price all work orders. And when we total everything up and have the total for the entire bid items, that's how we're going to determine the lowest parent bid. Okay, next slide, please. So in the next 6 months, we anticipate to issue a handful of job order contracts throughout the state. So for North Region in District 2, they plan to issue 1 job order contract for fencing work with a Clean California program. If things go well, you might see an advertisement, hopefully in June, maybe July, but we're crossing our fingers for June. I know the districts are working very hard to get the package together, and they anticipate the package to be roughly about $1 million. And for next fiscal year, we anticipate more job order contracts throughout the state. So with that, I think that's pretty much it. Next slide. I think this was nothing. Okay. So for any information that you need, we do have our internet site, which is on the bottom left. So if you want to stay in tune of what's going on with job order contracting with Caltrans, please visit our website often. This is an ongoing process for us. We've never utilized job order contracting before, so we anticipate to continue to gather lessons learned and make improvement with our program. And if you want to shoot us an email, we do have a shared email at innovative.delivery@dot.ca.gov. Any questions with job order contract or maybe our other alternative delivery programs, such as CMGC and design build, feel free to shoot us an email. And with that, I'll open the floor for questions.
All right, well, thank you very much for that wealth of information, Amy. I do, in the interest of time, want to have people reserve their questions for just a little bit until we hear from our other speakers for this first half, but we will circle back around to that. You know, the thing that really struck me when you were talking about that is at that price point and based on that model, this actually seems like a really good opportunity for subs who may be looking to make the jump to becoming prime contractors and dipping their toe into working directly with our department. So I just thought I would mention that because it feels like this is a good avenue for that exploration for business growth. So let's go ahead and hear a bit more about CPM logistics next. Abigail, go right ahead, please.
Great. Thank you, Aaron. I think a lot of you on this call, we already have relationships with most of you, so I'm not going to belabor what we do for too long, but really what our company does is we work with Caltrans closely to help identify barriers keeping the small contractors from working on Caltrans contracts. Most of them are subcontractors. Their scope of work is completely conducive to being a sub, forever. But we help to identify what those barriers are, and we work towards providing systemic and lasting solutions. And I can see from the participants in here, there's several of the proteges from our Mentor Protege program who attended this event. We get in, we help develop trusting relationships with pretty much all of the stakeholders on these projects, and we see, what are the unique needs for each of the little guys. Is it a confidence issue? Is it technical assistance? And we provide support and resources to remediate that. Because one thing we've learned before I turn it over to the next speaker is that almost every single situation with small contractors or any kind of issues or problems or barriers is unique. They're not the same. So you have to look at them, individually and figure out what works for each one. So I will be happy to answer questions later, but that being said, we are always looking for more proteges for the Mentor Protege program. So I see they put my email in the chat room. Feel free to email me after this and we can connect you with those resources.
All right, well, thank you for that great information, Abigail. Next, we'll hear about AGC of California. Chris, please go right ahead.
Wonderful. And good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Smith, Director of Government Affairs for the Associated General Contractors of California. I just wanted to give a big thank you to Caltrans for putting this event on this morning. It's an event like these that really help with piecing together some of the major projects throughout the state. And so we're excited to be here today at this Meet the Primes event. And especially to see some of our large primes here and as the primes. I see Chris Hanley with Tullis, who happens to be our area chair for the Shasta district. That covers a lot of Caltrans District 1, 2, and 3. I see representatives from Steelhead who are the vice chair of that same area. I see Clinton Myers, who's been a longtime leader for AGC and working on some major projects up here in the North region, and Granite and Flatiron, who are on our state board of directors. So clearly, if you want to connect with major primes beyond this event in North State, I see no better opportunity than to become an AGC member there. But going into what we do, AGC covers a whole host of services for the construction industry. That's why we're one of the largest construction associations in the state. As an AGC member, you get the best representation in the business for advocacy at the local, state, and federal level. That includes opportunities to participate in regular meetings with 12 Caltrans districts throughout the state, as well as meetings with major local, public, and private owners. Our government affairs team also provides the latest on laws coming out of the Capitol, OSHA, CARB, and what else is coming out with cost escalation. In fact, our national folks just sent out some information last week to our members on the latest updates about what's happening with construction supply chain issues. We also provide a host of labor relations and compliance for union signatory contractors, as well as helping contractors comply with skilled and trained. We provide trainings such as introductions to AutoCAD, Civil 3D, basics for Microsoft Project Professional, as well as mental health trainings for construction. And I would be remiss if we didn't talk about our premier networking events. Just this past Friday, we held an amazing sold-out golf tournament up at the Gold Hills Country Club. We had meet and greets with high-profile public officials like Mitch Weiss, the executive director for the CTC, as well as a ton of other events with hundreds of other attendees, both primes and subs. So, if you're serious about getting that advantage in the industry, I would highly recommend connecting with AGC, and I'm happy to answer any questions later down the road.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chris, and thank you for being here. So we were supposed to have James Forrest with NorCal PTech speak. He has not hopped on the call. He's running a little bit late due to conflict, but we're going to go ahead and go and field some questions right now until he joins us. So our speakers covered a lot of material, and I suspect there may be a question or two for our presenters so far. Let's go ahead and see about getting those answered. As another reminder, if you haven't already done so, please get your questions into the Q&A section of your WebEx window. And again, please direct them to go to Robin Spence. I'd like to also encourage those who are brave enough to get on mic with us to ask their questions, and we'll offer to have you ask them directly as well. Robin, have we had questions come in for our audience?
Yes, we have, Aaron. The first question is coming from the ATTAC group, ATTAC.
All right.
That's TAC group.
Well,
My apologies.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you.
And you've unmuted. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Well, my question here, my name is Chase Barr. I'm president of ATTAC Group, and we're a DVBE small business here in the state of California. And we support primes in regards to their management consulting, project staffing, and recruiting. And I know the personnel is a big need across the board within the state as well as in business. And so just seeing if I'm in the right place and, telling who I am and, if you guys need project staffing and things of that nature, am I in the right place to, to network with you guys?
I don't know if other people want to weigh in, but I think you're in exactly the right place where you need to be. The second half of our program, in case it wasn't clear, is going to be a networking session. We're going to be having each of our prime representatives go into a breakout room, which is kind of like a side room or a sideboard. And you and all the other audience attendees are going to be able to go to and from those rooms and interact with those prime representatives, make those introductions, and hopefully have some pretty involved conversations about capabilities, services offered, and that sort of thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Robin, who's got our next question?
I think that our prime partner, Clinton, had a question for Amy next.
Oh, fantastic. Clinton, do you want to ask that question?
I think that question was answered. Here is where we're going to see those job order contracts coming from.
Okay, and if memory serves, Amy, those are going to be posted to Cal eProcure, correct? As opposed to the Caltrans website?
That's correct. And just to let you know, we are working on developing electronic bidding process that will go back to the main Caltrans website but in the time being, everything will be hard copy submittal through Cal eProcure until that's established.
Absolutely.
Do you
And
anticipate the first couple job order contracts coming out, so everyone's looking for them?
Yes, we hope June. The districts are working really hard on it. So at the soonest June, it could potentially slip to July. And that's for District 2 in June, and District 11 will also be in June.
all right, and for those who don't know our district scheme, District 11 covers the San Diego area, so the very southernmost part of the state. All right. Robin, who has our next question?
Antoinette Donnelly has our next question.
Antoinette. Would you like to ask your question, Antoinette?
Sure. So I'm curious on the job order contracting, if you're a DBE, SBE contractor and there's a DVBE goal also, do you need to cover both goals, or does your DBE cover also the DVBE since it's both a minority certification?
Great question. Thank you for asking. So for project that's stemming from Clean California program, and when you read the invitation for bid, it should state if it is a state-funded project. So for a state-funded project, there will be a DV, a veterans goal, and there'll be no DBE goal. So contractors are required to meet the veterans goal. For both Clean California and projects from broadband, there are no DBE requirements. So there is no requirements as of today for either of the job order contracting programs.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that question, Antoinette. And I see that James Forrest has joined us. Very welcome, James. We're jumping ahead to answer a few questions, but I'm going to go ahead and back up, and you have the floor. So please introduce yourself. James, are you there? James, can you hear me? Okay, James, are you there?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Welcome.
I was just talking up a storm alone over here. Right.
Gotta love technology sometimes.
Yeah, my system's used to Zoom. So, all right, my name is James Forrest. Again, I apologize for being late. No one heard that, but had a previous engagement, so this was the earliest I could make it. I am the program coordinator and procurement specialist, one of the procurement specialists for NorCal PTAC. There's my email address. If you guys have any questions, you can email me directly, or you can reach us, our general line down there at the bottom. Let's go ahead on next slide here. NorCal PTAC is the Northern California Procurement Technical Assistance Center. We've been partnered with Caltrans for a long time. Basically what we are, we're a nonprofit. We're not a government agency. We're not a part of Caltrans. We're also not a private consultancy. What we are is a one node in a network of centers that are independently run, nonprofit centers that are funded by the federal and state government in our case. So basically what we do is we provide free services to small businesses in our service area, specifically small businesses who are looking for government contracting assistance. So you may have heard of the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center. We're similar to them, but we only focus on government contracting. So that's really our bread and butter. The way it works is you apply online. I give you a sign-up link there in the bottom of the screen. And if you're accepted, you're assigned to a procurement specialist, and then you can meet with them one-on-one. So that's really the main part of what we do is one-on-one counseling. So you can sit down on Zoom, you exchange emails, phone calls, whatever works for you. go over all of the goods, all of the processes of selling your goods and services to the government. So we can certainly help folks get DBE certified, how to navigate compliance with Caltrans contracts, all sorts of things like that. We have a construction specialist who can also meet with you about architecture, engineering, and construction projects. He's been a big help as well. And you can see our service area here on the right. These 15 counties, if you're in one of them, you can apply for our services. There are 7 other PTACs just in California alone. I think there's 96 PTACs across the country. So if you're not in the service area, you're probably in the service area of another PTAC. So no worries, we all provide the basic same 4 services. Of course, there's differences because we're all independently operated. Our PTAC offers a custom bid matching profile as well. That's a service that we pay for and then we offer to you for free. It's pretty neat. What it does is it scours the whole internet to find opportunities that match the criteria that you work out with your procurement specialist. So if you build fences, you're going to work out a system of keywords with your procurement specialist that it'll take all the bid opportunities, requests for bids, things like that, and it'll send them to your inbox. And you have a nice hyperlinked list of opportunities that may be great for you to take a look at and see if you can bid on. And the third thing we do is, as you know, we're joining here today as panelists for this webinar. We love partnerships. We love joining other folks' events. We also put on a ton of our own events. So, you know, on an average 1 a week or 1 every 2 weeks, we're having lots of webinars on procurement topics. So you can go to our website, norcalptac.org. Under the resources tab, you'll see a thing that says past webinars. We have every webinar we've put on in the past 5 years. And so I like to go in there. Sometimes if I'm curious about a procurement topic, I'll do Control F or Apple F or whatever works on your device. And then I'll find that topic. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of webinars. Anyway, with all these services, we've helped our clients win more than $500 million in 2020 alone. We're working on getting the last year's figure. But if you're looking for government contracting assistance, we are a great option out there. So we hope to think of us, and you can reach out to us with the contact information there. I can put it in the chat as well. And this is just a slide basically about about all of California's PTACs and just an overview of who we are. PTACs across the country are involved with helping small businesses achieve their goals in the government marketplace.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, James. And your clients, there's no direct cost to them aside from their time and effort, correct?
Absolutely not. No, we don't charge for anything that we do.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, you know, that's as close as you're going to get to a free lunch these days, I think. So.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, we're you know, you've paid for us in your taxes, so you might as well take advantage of us. That's how I like to think of it.
It's a good way of looking at it. Well, thank you for joining us, and we're going to swing back to talking questions. Robin, have any more questions come in for Amy or any of our other presenters this morning?
Yes, Diana Laseca has a question for Amy.
All right, Diana, would you like to ask your question yourself?
Of course, I don't know if you can hear me now. I'm the one that's having problems listening to you.
We can hear you.
Okay, super. Amy, this is Diana Laseca, Best Utility Services. We are an underground utility service, DBE and union. My question is regarding to the job orders. We have, if we have a contract with you for a year and we don't start receiving work orders, how do I go about it? Because we have a master agreement, but we didn't get any job orders.
Thanks for the question, Deanna. So when we enter a job order contract master agreement with a contractor, at that point, we're locking in that stipulated unit price with the contractor. So at that time, you'll have a general idea of the geographical region of the work. Most likely, it will be a corridor route. And also at that point, we will have a defined scope of work. For example, District 2 plans to issue a job order contracting for fencing. So you know there's going to be fencing work. You'll see the typical cross sections on the plans. You just don't know exactly where. So after we execute a master agreement with the contractor, and when the districts are ready, because sometimes they need more time to acquire temporary construction easements, or perhaps they're working on more details on the plan, such as elevations, offset. Once the district's ready to issue the exact location of work, they'll want to meet with the contractor and have that joint scope meeting with the contractor. And that's when you'll know the exact location, the quantities, all the work items, and there'll be an opportunity for discussion to make sure all the work items is included to do that work. And then you won't know how many work orders during that 12-month duration, but we're here to partner with the contractor, so we'll definitely let you know what our plan is. So there should be no surprises. We want to be transparent and upfront. It's just a different way for us, Caltrans, to deliver our projects. It's mainly job order contract. It's mainly benefits our maintenance program. So work that's non-complex and repetitive. To answer.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for that, Amy. And actually, I want to interject one of my own questions, because I know this is a topic that is probably going to come up with a lot of our primes later, and I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts. I know that there's a lot of, I guess, anxiety in the construction industry due to inflation in general, but also specifically, the cost of raw materials, the cost of freight, the cost of fuel, and kind of the volatility of those. And it can make some contractors very hesitant to enter into, offering up prices now for multi-year contracts. I was wanting to know, with the job order contracting, are there provisions that Caltrans is preparing for, the possibility of needing change orders for price changes? Is that something that we've worked out as a department? Do you know?
So for job order contract, it's initial 12-month term. So the contractors will need to factor in the risk for that 12 months. And just like any of our other construction contracts, you're really locking into those prices that you bid for. So it's really no different compared to our traditional process. If for some reason we have more work that goes beyond the 12 months, and we want to extend the agreement with the contractor, currently we don't offer any escalation factors. But the contractor has the right of not extending the master agreement term limit. So these are very good questions, but just no easy answers at this point.
Of course not, but thank you for weighing in on that. I'm sure it's a topic that's on a lot of people's mind. Robin, are there other questions that have come in?
We have no other questions at this time.
Okay, well, I'd like to say another thank you to all of our SMEs for being here and sharing so much with us today. Now, truly, without further ado, let's get into the real reason I think you're all here today, meeting all the great primes that we've brought together for you. This morning, we have representatives from 7 construction firms joining us. We feel very fortunate to have gathered so many leaders of their industries here with you today. First, we have Chris Handley with Tullis Construction. Next, we have Mark Benziger with Mercer Fraser Construction. And we also have with us Clinton Myers of Myers & Sons Construction, Mike Costa of Flatiron, Scott Edwards with Granite, Kelly Knight with Steelhead Constructors, and finally, Keith Stewart of Stewart Engineering. And while I'm sure many of these names might already be familiar to some in our audience, let's go ahead and hear some brief introductions from each of them. And with that, let's hear about Tullis. Chris, are you there?
Yes, good morning, Aaron. Can
Great.
you hear me?
Please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Fantastic. Well, welcome everybody. And I also would like to thank Caltrans for just providing us this opportunity to just meet everybody that's out there in the internet world right now. It's fantastic just to see your faces, and hopefully someday we can actually meet in person. But thank you for the time. So Tullis Incorporated, just to give you a little snippet of Tullis, we've been performing public works and private work around the Reading area for the past 30 plus years. We predominantly are performing in District 2 for Caltrans, and to give you that geographical area where we typically focus, that's within about a 100-mile radius of Reading. So north of here, you're looking about Wairika. If you're heading to the south, we're looking from Reading to the south, Willows Chico area, to the west towards the coast as far as Willow Creek. To the east, you're looking Bernie, MacArthur area. So those are the areas that we focus in, and typically we are looking at District 2 work. So if you're interested in working in District 2, we'd love to hear from you and explore opportunities. We are predominantly focused as a heavy civil contractor. Earthwork, grading, and paving is what we like to perform, self-perform. We also operate out of 3 quarries around the Reading area. We have 2 alluvial deposits and 1 hard rock quarry. We also own and operate a hot mix asphalt plant. So paving really is our bread and butter and is what we're focused on with Caltrans. So if you've traveled up through the North State, be it either on I-5 or 299 or Highway 44 on vacation, you may have seen us out there. Tullasync, look for the green sticker. You've probably seen us doing some paving for Caltrans. So we typically are looking to prime contracts. We also act as subcontractors on projects. We perform work as small as $50,000 contracts to as large as $30 million contracts. We are a union signatory contractor. We are signatory to the laborers and the operators. We are also members of the Associated General Contractors of California, and we are also with the California Asphalt Pavement Association. And you may have heard from, you did from Chris Smith there with AGC, but what to get involved with these associations, what a great way to network and get your face out there, you know, put a face to a name and meet contractors. I highly encourage it. Great way to network. So we have lots of experience performing Caltrans work, been doing it for 30 plus years, and we just really appreciate the partnering and the positive relationships that we have with Caltrans. You'll find if you haven't been working with Caltrans before, you know, you jump in and you're going to find that the construction community, there's just a lot of folks out there that really are willing to work with you, help you. There's a lot of paperwork involved with Caltrans, but we've been doing it for 30 years. We know how to do it right, and would be happy to talk to you on that end if that's something of concern on your end. Anyways, we are always in search of entertaining subquotes, material quotes, be it even if we self-perform a lot of the work and you're interested in getting involved with that, our doors are open. We will entertain any quote that comes along, and we encourage you to get out there early, communicate with us before projects come out, get onto the Caltrans website, look at those District 2 jobs that are there, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like to hear more about Tullasync, I really look forward to meeting you here a little later in one of the breakout sessions. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate that, Chris. Next up, we'll hear about Mercer Frazier. Good morning, and please go ahead, Mark. Mark, are you still with us? It seems that Mark has fallen off the call. We will come back to Mark Benziger in just a little bit. But for now, let's go ahead and hear from Clinton Myers about Myers & Sons. Clinton, are you there?
I am here, Aaron. Thanks.
Excellent.
Yeah, so a little bit about Myers & Sons, and I appreciate Chris going first, so I kind of know the good format to follow. But yeah, Myers & Sons Construction, we are a heavy civil contractor. We do work in all 12 of Caltrans's districts. We are located in District 3. You know, the type of work that we primarily do is bridge construction. And then we do bridge and highway rehab or rehabilitation, which includes, you know, polyester concrete overlays or concrete panel replacements. And then outside of Caltrans, we do a bunch of water, wastewater treatment plant work. So like I said, we do a lot of that work up and down the state. Big focus is on the North region with the end use group. And we really enjoy the relationships and the partnerships that we've built with Caltrans as well as our subcontractors. As Chris mentioned, you know, I mentioned the type of work that we do, but in reality, we will take a quote for anything and find a way to weave it into the project if it makes sense for the project at that time. There's, you know, there's a ton of Caltrans work out there right now. We are hunting for subs. We're actually bidding a District 3 job today and tomorrow, we're scrambling to find minor concrete, colored asphalt subcontractors on right now. So I would encourage anyone who does that kind of work to give us a call here. We're a union contractor. We're signatory to the laborers, operators, carpenters, cement masons, and pile drivers in both Northern and Southern California. And yeah, I guess that's a little bit about Myers. So thank you.
Thank you, Clinton. All right, let's go ahead and hear next about Flatiron from Mike Costa. Mike, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you just fine. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody to this event. So yeah, my name is Mike Costa. I'm the Senior Vice President for Flatiron. Flatiron is a company that exists throughout the United States and Canada. We perform earthwork, roadway, bridges, rail, airports, water treatment projects. And for myself, I've been in this Northern California area my entire career. This marks my 37th year in construction. 31 of those has been building Caltrans work. So I'm responsible for California, Oregon, and Washington. In doing so, like I said, I've been with Caltrans long enough to see this program actually start off. So I really commend Caltrans, quite frankly, and the North region specifically for putting on such an event. It really shows that they walk the talk when it comes to promoting and engaging more small businesses into this program. I would definitely encourage you all certainly ask as many questions as you can, especially in the breakout sessions. I think Chris had brought up from Tolis the administrative, let's say, side of working with Caltrans, which at times can be a bit intimidating. But it's something that all of us from Myers and Tolis and Mercer, Fraser, Granite, we're all used to the administrative side of it. And it's something that we're definitely willing to assist you all with in order to get more participation. In any event, other than that, Flatiron, again, here locally, we build both large and small projects. I think like Clinton says, we don't just do work for Caltrans, we do work for other agencies. Both large and small, we at Flatiron here in Northern California do anything from $1 million, $2 million job to as much as a $3 billion job with the California high-speed rail as an example. But it's, again, thanks Caltrans for putting on this event again. And I really hope that it's going to produce quite a lot of participation here in the future.
Well, thank you, Mike. That's our hope too. And we really appreciate you guys mentioning the fact that, you do work with other agencies and other public works departments. Because it's entirely possible, though. I mean, we would obviously like everybody who's here today to have, services that are appropriate for Caltrans projects and that are relevant to what we're looking to contract out. But obviously that might not be the case for everybody. But kind of underscoring the point that they still need to be making those networking connections, because who knows what else you guys have on the docket or coming up in your job plans. So thank you for pointing that out. Next, let's hear from Scott Edwards with Granite. Hello, Scott. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, my name is Scott Edwards. I'm a chief estimator for Granite Construction. For those that don't know, a little bit about Granite Construction. So this year, Granite turns 100. We've been around since 1922. We're very excited that we've made this big milestone and getting ready for the next 100 years of building big work. We started 100 years ago in little Watsonville, California, with a little mine, mining rock. And that's expanded. We have a whole bunch of different places that we mine rock and build work now. We work throughout the United States, Canada, and locally here, as I come closer to the area, we do a lot of work in California. I think last year we did the most number, the biggest number of Caltrans contracts that any contractor's done. So we do a lot of work in California. I work out of our Sacramento office, and so I run the territory, so to speak, of District 2, 3, 10, 6, all the way down. We have a small satellite office in Fresno that's part of what's called the Valley region of Sacramento. We have other offices that work out of the Bay Area and Southern California and the rest of the Central Valley. We deal in all kinds of heavy civil construction, lots and lots of Caltrans work, as we said. We do a lot of other things here in our local office in Sacramento. I've worked on the Sacramento rail yards to rebuild train stations and built the Folsom Dam Auxiliary Spillway. So lots of different types of heavy civil construction that we involve ourselves in, from grading and paving to structural concrete work. We are also a union contractor and look for partnering with lots of small business, minority contractors, like everyone else, on some of these larger Caltrans projects. We also do dabble in the smaller projects. We pride ourselves in being able to do the billion-dollar projects, but also to be able to pave someone's driveway. So it is quite a vast amount of things that we try to tackle at our company. Anyway, so I have recently become the chief estimator at Granite, so I'm taking on a little bit of a new role. I've been spending the last year and a half doing pre-construction services for Caltrans District 3 on the American River Bridge project that's just getting up and running right now. And so I'm looking forward to working with a lot of you folks on tackling lots and lots of projects ahead. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you, Scott. Glad to have you here. And next up, we are joined by Kelly Knight, who will be telling us more about steelhead constructors. Kelly, please go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. So Steelhead Constructors is a California-based general engineering firm that was established in 1996, not quite 100 years ago, but we specialize in a variety of infrastructure projects throughout the Western United States, including California, Oregon, Washington, and Nevada. Our predominant market is California. We bid a lot with Caltrans. We work a lot in districts 1, 2, 3, and 10, but we also will bid in the other districts as well, depending on where we're located at the time doing work. I work with all of our estimators in our office, and the 26 years that we've been here, I've been here going on 17 years. So I work with all the subs and DBEs, and I do all the outreach, and I do everything I can to make them feel comfortable and invite them to bid with us. We have successfully completed with an aggregate value of $195 million in work in that time. And we have a combined 95 years of engineering construction experience in those years that we've been in business. We perform a variety of projects with a heavy highway and bridges is what we mostly do. We have a list of all of our items that you'll see in our breakout room that we like to bid on. And then we also have a list you'll see in the breakout rooms of all the subcontractor work that we look for. It's a good list, but it's not all inclusive. So if there's lots of other things that we are looking for as well. We are union signatory to the laborers, operating engineers, cement masons, and the carpenters. So if you are with a union already, that's ideal. If you're not with a union and you want to get started, we can certainly help you go with job by job or however you want to do that. We're also looking for material vendors for all of our jobs. And that's just a little background on our company. If you have any questions, please ask us. And we're always available. I'm always available for any help or questions or links. Helping you opt in with Caltrans on the back end so you can find jobs. And want to thank Caltrans for this opportunity today. And that's about all I have to say.
Well, it's quite enough, Kelly. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Keith Stewart here to tell us more about Stewart Engineering. Hello, Keith.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Really, we are very much the same as the other 6 contractors that have spoke out already. We're a heavy civil contractor. I I think Kelly did a great job of describing Stewart Engineering as well as Steelhead. We jumped into the public works spectrum in 1994, so maybe just a little bit older than them, but we focus on very much the same types of projects as Steelhead. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how different we are. I would like to go in and maybe expand a little bit on what the others have said. I would encourage you to contact every single person that is speaking today. We're all here to do the same thing. We're trying to encourage you to be a part of the team. I've been doing this since 1983, and not as my own, not as a sole proprietor or a business owner, but been doing this work since 1983 while I was going to school, earning an engineering degree. And I can tell you that it takes an entire team, no matter what the project is, and you cannot do all of the work. We, as a general contractor, we cannot do all of the work that's out there. So we need more help on our teams, and so we're encouraging all of you guys to become a part of that. Don't let every single one of us. It sounds like we're signatory to the unions in some fashion. Don't let that be a deterrent. Kelly said it. I'll say it again. We have ways to help you overcome those hurdles. They're there to help. We're here to help. And the state of California is here to help. And it takes the entire team, whether it's Caltrans or whether it's us as a general contractor, whether it's you wanting to become a general contractor, or whether it's you as a subcontractor. It takes all of us. So be encouraged. Don't be discouraged. And contact us all. And that's really all I have to say.
Well, thank you for that, Keith. And yeah, that's a really good way of putting it, because, you know, some people look at the process for public works contracting and they wonder how anything gets built ever. But I mean, this is how it happens. This is the start of it. We make the magic happen, you know, not to sound cliche or anything. But I'd like to thank all of our primes once again for being here today. Unfortunately, it looks like Mark Benziger is having some connectivity issues. We're not going to be able to have him join us to talk more about Mercer Frazier. But some of you may be looking at the long line of primes that we have for assembled and wondering how exactly we're going to ensure that you all get to meet and introduce yourselves to them. And for that, we have a wonderful format change for this event that we think you're all going to like quite a bit, and that is the use of breakout rooms. And that's right, each of our primes today is going to have a breakout room, and think of it as a side room split off from our main virtual meeting area that you as attendees will be able to enter and exit as you please to meet with as many primes as you like. And it's our hope that creating all these smaller spaces for you to meet with these primes is going to allow you to introduce yourself to them, share a little bit more in depth with them about your company's offerings, capabilities, and capacity, and also what sets you apart from your competitors. And now to join any of our primes networking rooms, you only need to go to the top of your WebEx window and open the Breakout Sessions menu, mouse over to the Join Breakout Session option in the menu bar, then from there select the room of whichever prime you want to meet with. And leaving that room couldn't be easier either. When you're ready to visit another breakout room, simply choose the Leave Breakout Session option from the Breakout Sessions menu at the top of your window, which will return you to the main meeting area, and then from there select the next prime's breakout room you want to visit. I'm going to go ahead and launch those rooms right now. And if all of this seems too daunting for your level of comfort with Cisco WebEx or just virtual outreach in general, just know that there will be Caltrans staff in each breakout room as well as the main meeting area during the networking portion of our program today. And we'll be monitoring the chat sections of each of those rooms and helping you if need be. Now, with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and send our primes to their rooms, and everyone can start going to their first breakout room of choice. We will start pulling people back in about 5 minutes till, or just a little bit before, so to wrap up and answer any last minute questions. But we hope that you have a chance to network with everybody and have some great conversations with our primes today.